Oh, yes. And we are live right now. It's good to be live. Coming to you once again this Sunday, November 22nd, 2015. It's your host right here, the one and only Black Avenger, aka the Black Azrael Lee Sanders. Pleased to meet you. Nice to know me. We are talking WWE Survivor Series Fallout. Those of you that had checked out the pay per view event, I want to hear from you guys as I'm going to be live for the next little bit. We're simulcasting right now on YouTube and on Spreaker.com. So, however, you're checking this out, mad props. Thank you all so much for checking this out live. I definitely got to show a lot of love to those of you that's 9 times out of 10 going to be checking this out on the downloads. It would help a little bit if I had the microphone maybe a little bit closer, yeah? So you guys can hear me a little better. I think that's better, yeah? Okay, welcome. All right, interact with me on Twitter at the RCWR Show, Facebook, Infinity One Productions. That's with an E. Spell out one, my pretty babies. Infinity One Productions. Now, look. YouTube shout out. Those of you that's like looking for the actual full pay per view event, there's really no excuse for you guys right now. Y'all need to like go sign up for the WWE Network. If you're in North America, you can get it for free. All right. It's easy because every single month you turn around, they're always offering some type of a free month promotion. Now, if you've used up all your free promotions and you're in a position where you have to pay, you don't have a credit card, Walmart, my pretty babies. All you got to do is go to Walmart and you can get yourself a WWE prepaid card, put your money down, take that card home, got a little scratch off number like the little lottery cards or whatever, enter that number, boom, you'll be able to enjoy the WWE network. All right, there's really no excuse when you really think about it. But oh my god, where do I even want to begin? How about the controversial ending to the Survivor Series event? We had a very controversial cash in. I'm still trying to process it. I mean, at my end, I was looking at the time. I have to pay attention to the time because I got to make sure that we start promptly live for you guys with our coverage. I look at the time and it's about, I would say, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm saying, something isn't quite right. Something's gonna go down, something monumental. Sheamus is probably gonna cash in. Sure enough, you can just feel the moaning and the groaning with Sheamus going in to try to cash it in. Was he successful? I know those of you probably did not check out the pay per view and you're listening right now. And I know there is a decent amount of you guys that like it when we go in order. Yeah. As much as I'd like to just jump right at it and go for the juggler, no. Longtime listeners, we got people that don't like when I jump all over the place. They want it to be fed to them as in the order that the pay per view had came to them tonight. So we got to take it from the top. We got to work our way down to the bottom. So on that note, let's go ahead and let's do it. I did manage to check out, and for those of you that might be a little bit curious, I checked out the Survivor Series event on the Xbox 360. Now, I'm just going out on a limb here, but I think I have an Xbox One coming this Christmas holiday season. I have very good reason and suspicion to believe that, well, although I could be wrong. Well, for now, I was checking it out on the Xbox 360, and like right before I could even like go to the WWE app, I was prompted to download an update. Now, I'm not sure how this goes for Xbox One users, PlayStation users, but for the Xbox 360 users, there is a new update. I'm aware that this update had came about sometime this week because I was watching the WWE Network earlier in the week for Legends with JBL when they were talking about The Undertaker with Triple H, Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, and there wasn't any update prompts right then and there. So I think this update might have kicked in maybe Wednesday or Thursday because pretty much that was like the last time. Monday, I think. Monday night was like the last time I checked out the WWE network. But the point that I'm making, there's a very good reason why I'm telling this short story, is because when I downloaded the app, I experienced no lagging whatsoever, no buffering, no freezes, nothing. So I don't know if the update had handled a lot of those problems because I know WWE, they did say they were aware about those problems and that they were looking to eventually squash them. So I don't know if maybe that was the long, eagerly anticipated update. But like as we speak, I have Breaking Ground playing and like still no buffering, no nothing that's going on. So if you have the Xbox 360, you might want to go scoop up that update. Hopefully that takes care of your problem. You also got to factor in whoever your respective cable provider is, your internet speed, all that. So you may hopefully that solves the problem. If not, then you may need to get in contact with your local cable provider. But I had a couple of people reach out to me and say, hey, how was the stream for you at your end? Stream was fine, no complaints. Anytime I don't have to go to the iPad, I'm happy. But the Survivor Series, I'm just gonna jump right into it. Let's talk about some of these matches we got. We had got a great kickoff match, which had saw the team of Goldust, the Dudley Boys, Neville, and Titus O'Neil from the Primetime Players. They defeated the team of Stardust, the Cosmic Wasteland, aka the Ascension. Also, Bo Dallas. I thought that was a decent kickoff. I thought it was kind of interesting from the moment that we had saw Goldust come out as the fifth participant on the babyface side. I thought it was interesting to just kind of peep out how the commentators were gonna like reintroduce Goldust because if you're paying attention to your WWE continuity, character wise and all that, you know that one of the last times we had saw the Goldust character, he had this feud that was going on with Stardust. I think one of the last times they met up, Stardust, he like just beat him like so badly or whatever. Then I think they had a few matches here and there, but Goldust just pretty much like disappeared or whatnot. But if you watch NXT a lot, then you know that there was the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic series, and both Cody and Goldust, without their makeup on, just as Dustin and Cody Rhodes, they made an appearance at the finals to present the trophy to the winners of the tag team tournament. So I thought it was interesting that, like, and if you guys remember, I said months back, I said, I wonder how WWE is gonna like address the Rhodes brothers appearing on this NXT special, and then like with future WWE programming for the SmackDown, the main event, the Raws, and all that. Like, if they were going to acknowledge that, or if they were just going to kind of like let that be a separate thing, let that be a one and only type of deal, and pretty much like pretend like it didn't happen. And sure enough, this really just kind of cemented that fact when Goldust got reintroduced to us, as they made no reference of Cody, Dustin at the NXT finals for the Dusty Rhodes finish. So I thought that was kind of interesting right there. As far as the match itself, honestly, I thought it started off rather slow, but it had a nice build up. I would say it was a 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series elimination tag match. It was pretty much one-sided for the most part. I mean, we saw the Hills just get eliminated like one by one. I mean, it was looking really bad. I know in the end it came down to Stardust. He was all by his lonesome, and like he was not trying to fight Team Goldust, but eventually he got cornered in the ring. I know he accidentally had hit Goldust. He was like apologizing to him, and then he tried to run into the ring. He got taken out by the Dudley Boys as they hit him with a 3D, and that pretty much had ended the match right there. Honestly, I thought it was kind of good that for the kickoff, I thought it was good that we had got the Dudley Boys in there to kind of get the crowd jump started and everything. I also thought it was good to have Neville in there, Titus O'Neil. I know some people may be a little bit disappointed that the Dudley Boys they got put in a kickoff, but honestly, when you just think of how they've been in the WWE so far, coming up to this point, I'm fine with the way they're continuing to be utilized in the WWE. Forgive me if I might be one of the few people that's not like jumping up and down, like just wanting with such great excitement to see these guys become the WWE Tag Team Champions again. They've been there, they've done that. I think this go round, it just really needs to be about paying it forward and basically putting over the younger talent, helping them out any way that's humanly possible. And honestly, since the Dudley Boys have been back in the WWE, I've actually been enjoying the way they've been utilized, especially when it comes to putting over the younger talent. It was nice to see Titus O'Neil kind of step away from Darren Young and be in a position where he can shine on his own. Crowd was definitely in his favor. When I just play back the reactions that certain individuals had received, I look back to this kickoff match. Titus O'Neil, the reaction was there. Goldust, unfortunately, not really so much. Dudley Boys, they had a little bit of something that was going on. Neville had a little something going, mainly when it came to him doing the whole high risk maneuvers and all that, his nice flashy kicks. He definitely had a little bit of a reaction, but everybody else, it was just pretty much kind of mum, if you will. I don't know if some of you guys would agree with me with that assessment. If you disagree, as always, like to hear from you all throughout social media. But yeah, nice really seeing Titus O'Neil be put in a situation where he can just kind of shine himself and everything. So great tag match again. Team Goldust picking up the victory on that 5-1-5 traditional Survivor Series elimination tag match. Of course, this Survivor Series event, it came with a lot of controversy. I'm sure some of you all had probably heard about this. If you were checking out your wrestling news feeds and all of that, apparently, supposedly now WWE Survivor Series was possibly under an attack advisor or whatever. There was like this report saying that maybe ISIS was going to attack the U.S. and that they were maybe going to strike at this WWE event. Honestly, when I just play all that info back in my head, and then to see 6 messages via Twitter that Triple H had put out talking about how they were working with the authorities, local, federal, trying to make sure everything is okay, get the green light to do this Survivor Series event. Honestly, I wouldn't be really surprised if maybe this was just a big old hot mess of BS, just so that it can have a lot of eyes and ears wondering what's going on with the WWE, what's going on with this Survivor Series event. I really would not be that surprised if maybe this was orchestrated by somebody within WWE, just so there could be some type of great social media presence on the WWE. I mean, come on, 25 years of Undertaker. It's the Survivor Series pay per view, one of the top 3 WWE pay per views of all time when you really break it down. I mean, come on, you got your Royal Rumble, you got your Survivor Series, and you got your Royal Rumble, you got your Survivor Series, you have your WrestleMania 4, if you want to put SummerSlam in there. So, yeah, so you got WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, your main 4. So I don't know. That's just the impression. When I first heard about it, I was kind of like, but then I just kind of thought about it a little bit more, and it was kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of picking up a little bit of BS with this. We'll see what happens. Kicking off the actual pay per view event, Lillian Garcia singing the national anthem still has those high notes just as much as I remember them very vividly. Almost 15, 20 years ago, hits the same high notes every single time. Lovely, beautiful Lillian Garcia, very beautiful. From there, we had our first semi-final match tournament, one of two. We had saw Roman Reigns defeat Alberto Del Rio. I got to do his name justice, yeah. Alberto Del Rio, to advance very, very, I tell you, from just the technical aspect, I didn't think Roman Reigns was going to be able to hang with ADR. I thought for sure ADR was going to like go into this match with like such, I, I don't know, and I guess I should know better, but there was just this part of me that was kind of getting the impression just possibly ADR was going to be looking to kind of like get himself over, get all his moves in there, that he really wasn't going to do the job. But then I kind of had to take a step back and just think about the interviews and the shoots that I saw Del Rio give before he came back to the WWE. And I just kind of had to remind myself that first and foremost, ADR is a businessman and he's going to always do whatever is the right thing. So as long as when it's all said and done, money wise, he's taken care of. And honestly, I just did not think Roman Reigns was going to be able to hang with ADR. I thought he was just way too much from just a technical aspect. Because you know how ADR, he can come at you with the lucha libre, he can come at you with the whole technical slash finesse. I mean, whatever the situation stands for, whatever it needs to bring, he can basically accommodate his style to that opponent that he's facing. And I tell you, it was a great way to open up the pay-per-view itself. Again, Roman Reigns advancing. From there, we had our next match: Dean Ambrose taking on Kevin Owens. That was your next tournament semifinal match. uh Damn, that was a really, really great classic encounter between Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens. We were polling you guys all night long over here, and I got to give a shout out to those of you I was interacting with on Twitter. A lot of you guys that chimed in on the votes. Give yourself a pat on the back, because I think for the most part, when I put the questions out there, how did you all enjoy this particular match, or what did you think about this match? A lot of you guys were pretty spot on for the most part. So if I were to just rewind it a little bit, let's see where we can kind of pick it up here. Can I pick it up with? Yeah, we asked you, how did you all enjoy Roman Reigns versus Alberto Del Rio? Sound off. 48% of you all thought it was a great match. 52% of you said, it was kind of lackluster. Now, for any of you guys that want to be a smartass and go, shouldn't there be a middle ground option in there? Unfortunately, Twitter, and hopefully they roll this out in the coming weeks. Right now, there is no third option. There's either two options. It's pretty much almost like a yes or no. So the way I tried to do every single match when I put the poll out there, I tried to really make sure I had a good feel for the match. I try to look at it in the most positive way. And then if there was any part of me that kind of looked at the match rather in a negative fashion, I kind of let it be known. Trust me, if I could have a third option and just put hell no, I definitely would have that in there. But I tried to do the best that I could. But 48% of you thought the match between Roman Reigns, ADR was a great match. 52% of you thought that it was kind of lackluster. And these are real time results that I'm seeing right now. The polling, if you haven't voted yet, you can go on our Twitter page, cast your vote. There's like 21 hours left, and maybe we'll follow it up Tuesday night on the RCWR show, which you can catch live on Spreaker at 10 p.m. Eastern. Again, Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com. I told you about the Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens match. Uh, great reactions for both of these men. Let's go Ambrose fight, Owens fight. I got to give a shout out to the one fan that I saw. He had this hilarious sign. I'm not going to repeat what the sign had said, but I thought it was hilarious. If you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, just hit me up with a message and I'll say yes or no if that was a sign. But man, those two guys, they really tore it off. I mean, they really, really delivered. I felt 78% of you thought that was a solid matchup. Surprisingly, 22% of you all thought the match was kind of mediocre. I really did not understand why. Well, then again, you guys could say, well, Lee, why did you put kind of mediocre? Well, I just wanted to cover all bases. The match didn't suck. To me, it did. To me, it felt like it was an awesome match. And I don't know if it was mainly because I got lost in the whole notion that it was like a fresh matchup, maybe. that we're seeing in the WWE universe side of things. But for the most part, I thought it was a really great match. There was never a part of me that thought it was a bad match. So that's why I put kind of mediocre in there, just in case some of you guys kind of was like, and whatever. So at this point, we know the two people that were going to be going at it for the WWE title. It was going to be Dean Ambrose and it was going to be Roman Reigns. At this point, we actually, who did you think was going to be the WWE champion? 37% of you felt that it was going to be Dean Ambrose. 63% of you felt it was going to be Roman Reigns. From there, the real fun began. We had got our next Survivor Series elimination tag match. We had got Team Ryback, which consisted of Ryback, the Usos, Jimmy and Jey Uso, that is, and the Lucha Dragons, Callista and Sin Cara, taking on the team of New Day. That's Biggie Langston, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Sheamus, and King Barrett. Now, one thing I should point out to you guys, what in the blue hell was going on with my man Xavier Woods' hairdo? I put the tweet out. I said, man, if Lil Richard could talk to Xavier Woods right about now, he would say tutti frutti, loose booty. No bull. That is like the original lyrics for Tutti Frutti. Don't believe me? Go research it yourself. But I think that's fitting considering New Day be running around talking about some booty, and all that other crap. Well, his hairdo, I mean, his hairdo looked like a combination of Little Richard meets James Brown meets maybe Liberace. I mean he I wasn't sure like if he was getting ready to bust out a Temptations classic or like a Motown hit. I wasn't sure what was going on with Xavier Woods, man. But I tell you, Xavier Woods, that whole New Day, I gotta give it up to New Day. New Day, I just find myself enjoying them more and more and more. They have truly become one of like my favorite highlights of the night because especially when you got the Raw show, SmackDown, wherever they're getting ready to appear on, and the shows like lackluster, you take comfort knowing that when New Day is scheduled to appear on that show, you know you're gonna get your money's worth if you're there in attendance. From a viewing standpoint, watching at home, you know you're gonna be entertained. You know there's no reason for you to change the channel, and I just really, really love how New Day have been bringing it. I can't stress it enough. I said this once before, several weeks back. If you guys did not get a chance to check out the Table for Three edition with New Day, you really need to check it out. It's on the WWE Network. It really gives you great insight into just how these three guys just came to be, how that trio came to become the New Day. Great storytelling. That's to me, I think that's probably one of the best table for threes that's on there so far. So check that out. Promise you won't be disappointed with that one. Let me know what you think about it after you check it out. But reactions for this one, Usos, they got their reactions. Ryback got their reactions. New Day, of course, definitely got their reactions. Even Callisto got a little something something because Sin Cara was basically at a couple of points during the matchup. He was kind of like being the base slash prop guy to set up Callisto to do like some type of a awesome spot, if you will. But Callisto was getting a little bit of buzz from the crowd. You know, surprisingly, no, it shouldn't be surprisingly. Why am I saying surprisingly? It's not surprisingly. Everybody was getting a reaction except for, come on, Sheamus and King Barrett. Now, look, I've been a fan of both of these guys for many, many years. At the same time, I'm willing to say, you know what? These guys, they keep getting pause, start, pause, restart, start, restart. I mean, they just keep, and then the gimmick changes that they've had over the years has just kind of gotten to the point like, man, when do you like cut bait. Is it time to cut bait? What the hell? And I know that might offend some people, but I just got to call it how I see it. And again, this is coming from somebody. I respect what they do as in ring performers, as professional wrestlers. I do respect them tremendously. But I mean, it's just so nerve wracking when you see these guys and, they're just floating around there. And I, to each its own. I'm gonna come back to that a little bit more later. There's a reason why I'm kind of emphasizing that right now, especially on Sheamus. Remember, Sheamus cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase. I said that at the top of the hour. Charlotte defeated Paige via submission via the figure eight to retain her Divas Championship. Looked to be a rather decent matchup. At this point, I want to give you guys an update on how you all had voted on the matches I just went over. Charlotte versus Paige, 45% of you thought that was a damn good match. 55% of you thought it wasn't bad, just average. And with regards to the Survivor Series tag match with Team Ryback, looks like 17% of you thought it was a great tag match. 83% of you thought it was decent, but it wasn't bad. Yeah, when I think about the two Survivor Series tag matches that we had I gotta definitely give the edge a lot to the kickoff one. I thought that with just the flow and everything, I thought that one was just really good. Whereas the one that we got later, I don't know, it kind of felt more of a certain spot fest, if you will. That was just really my assessment on it. Tyler Breeze, he picked up his first major pay-per-view victory here at Survivor Series against Dolph Ziggler. 57% of you guys thought it was a pretty nice match. 43% of you thought it was kind of rough. I don't know if that means it was kind of rough to watch or what. What was up with Tyler Breeze's hashtag Prince Pretty segment with Tom Phillips? I mean, the questions that I wish they wouldn't tease folks like that. They say, "Oh, WWE Universe, we're gonna read your tweets with our special guests in the social media lounge. So tweet us now, and you'll get your chance to maybe see your question be asked live with blah blah blah." And like, am I the only one that's noticing, like, every single time they do one of these things and the questions get asked, it almost comes off as if WWE thinks that its fans is stupid, and I wish they would ask, like, I wish, I know there are a lot of people that see these opportunities to ask some really great questions. And it's like, hey, this is like a once in a lifetime type of opportunity. Yet at the same time, WWE has to do any and everything that they can to protect that performer that's answering those questions, because they want to try to keep that character intact, which I can appreciate and everything. But like, how about some really good questions that could be put out there? Not saying you got to put questions out there that like reveals a lot about the business or anything, but like, how about some questions that like doesn't make the WWE fans look stupid? I think we can all be in agreement for that. I mean, when you just play back the questions that was asked to Tyler Breeze tonight, and then you think about the other questions that have been asked in previous social media lounges, it's just kind of, it's like, what did you have for breakfast today? What do you want to be when you grow up? I mean, it's like silly little questions like that. That stuff just really needs to stop. But once again, 57% of you thought the match was pretty nice. 43% of you thought it was kind of rough. To my favorite match of the night, highlight of the night, that is, Undertaker and Kane taking on the Wyatts. 47% of you thought it was a classic matchup. 53% of you thought it was a average matchup. Trust me, if I had the option to put in the match sucked, I definitely would have put it in there. Again, hopefully we get that third option. For me, watching Taker and Kane, by the way, I love the intro for The Undertaker. I love how when he was coming down the ramp up on like the Titantron, you saw like all these cool visuals of the Undertaker through the years. I thought that was just a really nice touch. Uh, Really awesome, really awesome. I enjoyed that a lot. Taker's growing the hair out some more. I don't know if he's going for the shoulder length look one more time, but it's nice seeing him grow it out. But as my girl pointed out, she said, "Man, what's going on with the hair in the front, though?" I'm like, hey, he's getting old. It happens to the best of them. Here's where I kind of go a little bit in a different direction on how I've been enjoying the matches so far up to this point. As for the most part, the matches, pretty solid. I'll say that much. I'll say they've been solid. I won't say fantastic or superb or oh my god, out of this world, but up to this point, it's been pretty good. But here's where I have a problem. So we have like a 50-ish-year-old Undertaker teaming up with a Kane that's in his what, mid late 40s, and they pick up the victory over the Wyatts. I personally had a little bit of a problem with the way this match was booked. And I'll tell you the reason why. First off, again, it was Undertaker and Kane taking on Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper. So it was a 2-on-2 match, but you had Braun Strowman and you had Eric Rowan. They were at ringside. I love the spot that came about with Undertaker and Kane when they put Braun Strowman through the announcers table. That pretty much like took him out of the equation. I thought that was a nice little touch that they did right there. Basically, the story being told of, hey, it takes two people to beat the crap out of Braun Strowman. I like that. I like that they sold that because there was just no way I was gonna buy someone that's like close to becoming a senior citizen one on one taking out Braun Strowman. There was just no way from just a creative standpoint I was gonna buy that. But like I'm just thinking back to what I've been seeing from the creative standpoint with Bray Wyatt. He controls the lightning, he controls the moon, the stars, the rainbows, the Skittles. I'm just thinking about all that little stuff that he's saying. And then I think about how he can flicker the lights and he can have like 4 foot 2 druids. I swear those were little kids. I'm gonna keep on saying that until I'm proven wrong, but I swear those were little kids. Druids pop up at his command to try to jump his opponents or whatever. And I just couldn't help but kind of like look at this match and kind of go, well, if he controls all these things and he can have druids and all that pop up, like where was the numbers game or game rather? Where was the numbers game pointed to the Undertaker and Kane? I mean, for me, this is where I kind of differ because even though it is like Survivor Series celebrating 25 years of the Undertaker, I just kind of felt like the Wyatt family should have picked up the W. And like, I don't know, this is like the second time I'm seeing a situation involving Bray Wyatt where he's put in this great position where, on the one hand, hey, you get to work with the Undertaker, and as JBL, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Steve Austin, as they pointed out on the Legends with JBL special, if you can hang with the Undertaker, your career is pretty much set in stone as far as having a continuation of a career in the WWE. It's like, if you can make it on Broadway, you can make it anywhere. Undertaker is basically like Broadway. So I mean, on the one hand, it's nice to see that, hey, a guy like Bray Wyatt, he can hang with the Undertaker. He's not marveled in awe over the Deadman He's not botching seriously or at all when he's taking on the Deadman and all that. But like, I just keep looking at the buildup that keeps happening with Bray Wyatt, and it's like he gets built up and built up and built up, only to be knocked down. And it's like, I don't know, just for me personally, I wouldn't have so much of a problem with Bray Wyatt losing if it involves him losing to somebody that's in his same age range, or maybe a someone that's a little bit younger that like needs the rub off. You know what I'm saying? Um, at the same time, I'm glad he's like away from Roman Reigns. I mean, I think we all can be in agreement on that. It's great that he's finally away from Roman, but I don't know. Just for me, I just felt that the Wyatt should have picked up the W. All that great buildup that's been going on with them so far. I just kind of felt like they needed this W. Bump the fact that it's Survivor Series and it's celebrating 25 years of the Undertaker. You could have gave him a nice little send off after the match was over. Let him and Kane be in the ring, and which is pretty much what we got anyway, as they got a nice little standing ovation and all that. But it is what it is. All right, next up, man. So far, we like knocked out all the matches. Just to recap for you guys, Lee Sanders here of the RCWR show. We're talking WWE Survivor Series Fallout. For your kickoff / pre-show, Team Goldust, which consisted of Goldust, Dudley Boys, Neville, and Titus O'Neil. They defeated the team of Stardust, The Ascension, Victor and Connor, Miz, and Bo Dallas. Roman Reigns defeated ADR to advance to the finals match for the WWE title. His opponent would be Dean Ambrose, as Dean Ambrose defeated Kevin Owens in the tournament semifinals to join Roman. Team Ryback, which consisted of Ryback, the Usos, Lucha Dragons, defeated the team of New Day, all three members, Sheamus and King Barrett. Charlotte retained her Divas title over Paige via submission. Tyler Breeze picked up his first major WWE pay-per-view victory against Dolph Ziggler. Brothers of Destruction, Kane and Undertaker, defeated Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper. Interact with me on Twitter at the RCWR Show, Facebook, Infinity One Productions. I want to hear from you guys as we get ready to wind it down for the night. All right, so for the WWE Championship, it is the tournament final to crown a new WWE champion, as the title became vacated by Seth Rollins out on injury due to participating in a WWE live event overseas. He's going to be out for 9 months, as a speedy recovery is definitely not in the cards for him. It's going to be a long, hard fought road of rehabilitation for that young man. Wish him nothing but the best. Roman Reigns taking on Dean Ambrose. Very short match. This was probably the second shortest match of the night before we had saw Sheamus. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, you're paying attention to the crowd reaction. I got to tell you, for a majority of the night, when it came to Roman Reigns, I heard just a little bit of booze that was going on for this young man. Uh, but for the most part, the crowd seemed to be in his favor. But I tell you, if it just would have cranked it a notch, just a little bit more, I swear it would have sounded like dead even, as far as half the crowd liked him, half the crowd, they hate him, couldn't stand his guts. You just heard a little bit of heckling, but I mean, it really wasn't enough to go, hey, Roman Reigns, well, no love. There wasn't anything like that. A lot of support for Dean Ambrose. I would definitely say that there was a lot of support for Dean Ambrose. A lot of people pulling in for him. Um, Very short matchup, man. Very short matchup. I mean, like, it was pretty much, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Roman Reigns take out Dean Ambrose with a spear to become the new WWE champion? I mean that's just how short the match was. I mean, it's like when you get past the entrances, start of the match. I remember at one point Dean Ambrose tried to go for dirty deeds. It got countered. Roman tried to go for like a short mini spear. It wasn't like his real spear that he does off the side of the ropes and wham, he just sucks the air out of your gut. Now it was like a short little mini spear. Ambrose kicked out. They just kept going back and forth. I mean, there was a great sequence of counters. I remember when it finally came down to Roman, like finally nailing Dean with the real spear. I think there was even a Superman punch that was in there as well. Roman Reigns, your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Uh, Great moment. Great moment, especially if you have been a fan of Roman Reigns. I've said to you guys, like for months, Roman Reigns needed to be in a situation where he needed to chase after whoever the WWE champion was. And in this case, it was Seth Rollins up until he got injured. I said to you guys, I said, the way I still feel, and I said it months back then, that Roman Reigns he would become WWE champion before this calendar year is out, and I actually came through on that prediction. You longtime listeners can back me up on that. I should have a lot of fun trying to pull that prediction that I had made. I think I might have said that like on the Royal Rumble post show this year that before the calendar year was out, Roman Reigns would become WWE champion. Great confetti pouring down on Roman Reigns. Great, awesome moment. You just couldn't help but say, yeah, this young man, given where he was last year and where he is right now, yeah, if WWE is gonna like just throw caution into the wind, why not Roman Reigns? Let's see what can happen. Worst thing that can happen is the young man, he just sucks as a champion. That's the worst thing. And then they got to go with somebody else. Confetti's pouring. You're happy. You're like, oh, the pay per view is gonna go off now. But like I mentioned at the top of the show, it's 10:30. You're like something is gonna happen, and unfortunately, I said Sheamus is gonna come out. A couple of you all had saw that tweet in time right before it went down. First, we saw Triple H come out. He tried to extend his hand to Roman, basically congratulate him. Roman wasn't feeling that. Roman went for a spear. By the time Roman got up, Sheamus was in the ring, hit him with the bro kick, tried to go for the 1, 2, 3 after he turned in his Money in the Bank briefcase. For those of you curious, the bell did ring. Sheamus' briefcase was officially now in action. He couldn't like run back and that's it. It's cashed in. This was an official match. Roman Reigns surprisingly kicked out of the bro kick. From there, we had Saul Sheamus. He figures, what I got to do now, fella? Surely I got to hit him with another bro kick. So as he's getting ready to do another bro kick, we saw like this great, awesome sequence where Sheamus is waiting. He's about to hit Roman with the bro kick again. Sheamus, uh, I'm trying to think. Sheamus is about to hit Roman with the bro kick. Roman counters it. He bounces off of the ropes, trying to look for the spear, but Sheamus hits him with another bro kick. So this was like his third attempt doing a bro kick. So basically, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. All right. This time, the bro kick connected. Sheamus goes for the pin. 1, 2, 3. We have a new WWE champion, and his name is the Great White Sheamus. Oh, I was paying attention to a little bit of the social media feed. There is a lot of people not happy with what's going on with Sheamus right now. Razor, longtime listener, people would be bitching if Roman Reigns had kept the title. People are moaning because Sheamus won too. Roman is just being put on the Daniel Bryan road to WrestleMania, in my opinion. Razor, I think that's a very good opinion. I think in order to really understand where people's frustration is coming from with Sheamus being in the position that he's in now is just the fact of you got to break it down this way. You look at how many resets the Sheamus character has had in the WWE. I mean, one of the first times we saw Sheamus, he was like this big, mega, badass heel. He destroyed Triple H, put him out for like X amount of months, storyline wise. Took out John Cena, became the WWE champion. I mean, his rise to the WWE championship, I mean, it was damn impressive. It was damn impressive. It was one of the like most impressive runs that I could recall for like a newcomer to the roster, especially on the main roster, right? So I mean, he did that whole thing, and then you think about the great matches that he had with Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight title and all that. I think honestly, the last time Sheamus was relevant, and this is just in my honest opinion, and I could be totally wrong with this assessment, but for me, the last time Sheamus was relevant, I got to go back to when he was the World Heavyweight Champion on SmackDown. And I mean, month in and month out, this guy was having some well fought, well, I mean, the matches were great. And I thought he was so underrated back then. I didn't think he was getting a lot of props for the matches that he was doing. I mean, whether he was defending the world heavyweight title or he was just in a main event match, singles match, or whatever, when it came to the SmackDown brand, when it came to the pay-per-views, Sheamus had always delivered in that time frame that he was the world heavyweight champion. And then it just kind of seemed like once he met up with Daniel Bryan that respected WrestleMania and what was it? If I'm not mistaken, Daniel Bryan lost the title in like 17 seconds or whatever like that. It just seemed like from that point forward, I don't know, it just kind of seemed like the support for Sheamus just kind of like started to dwindle a little bit, and then he just started to just be there. You know what I'm saying? And he had the 1-800 fella thing. It was kind of starting to catch on. Then he got injured. He was out for like about what 9, 10 months or whatever. Uh, was back for a little bit. Then he got injured again, and it just kind of seemed like in between those injuries to when he met up with Daniel Bryan, it just kind of seemed like the fan support just started to die down. And great look, no doubt about it. I mean, he's a tall guy. He's about what 6'5", 6'6". Great looking guy, great build and all that. But I mean, almost close to 40. I mean, he's 37. I mean, you just can't kind of help but kind of go like, okay, of like all the people that has been to the dance before as a WWE champion, why are we going in a direction where it's kind of like comfort food, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Where it's kind of like, well, let's be cautious. Let's go with somebody that we know we were able to trust in the past that can kind of help us out during this rough little spot that we're in right now. That's how it kind of feels like to me. With this win, he's now a four-time WWE champion. Honestly, I I wish a different circumstance would have came about where maybe Sheamus would have put the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line against like Kevin Owens, or maybe a Cesaro or a Dean Ambrose, and like maybe one of those guys could have got the briefcase off of him. I wish something like that would have came about, but I mean, this is what we have to deal with right now. Now, I mean, on the one hand, it's kind of bad that Sheamus is in this position that he's in, but then on the flip side to it, you think about the great matchups. that we could possibly have. I've said this for I don't know how long, and I'm going to continue to say this. Roman Reigns, when his time to become a WWE champion, and it's going to be a lengthy title reign, when it does go down, it's going to be the result of chasing after a heel champion. That's like the best way possible for it to go down. And I'm kind of getting the impression that WWE, I think they booked this right, and I'll tell you why they booked this right. They booked this right because I think deep down they knew that if they pulled the trigger and they put the belt on Roman Reigns on this very night, a lot of fans would have crapped all over it. They would have been like, I knew it, I knew it. They're going to give it to him. They're trying to make him be another John Cena or whatever. Screw Roman Reigns, whatever. Now, on the flip side to that, I know there's also the side from folks that say, well, what about Roman Reigns being a heel? Or what about Dean Ambrose being the heel? And basically somebody turning on in that little group. I agree with that. I agree that something like that should have happened, more so Roman Reigns. But there is a nice, fine, and interesting story in itself when you have a situation occur where you have this guy that, like, what Roman Reigns reminds me of every single time he keeps getting denied the WWE title? He reminds me of this guy that, like, there's this really hot girl that he wants, and, like, she's not recognizing him, she's not paying him any attention, and, like, he's trying to do any and everything he can to, like, be noticed by her to the point that he can, like, ask her out on a date. But in some weird shape or form, he keeps getting denied. And, like, he just keeps trying and trying and trying. And it seems like just when he comes so close, he gets denied. That's how Roman Reigns is really coming off to me right now. And I have always been a sucker for the chase is better than the catch. I love the chase. I love him chasing after the title right now. And with this great controversy that's come about, I mean, the way that they are building this up right now, I'm really getting the impression that Roman Reigns is probably not going to become the WWE champion, probably not until WrestleMania. I think WrestleMania is when it's all going to go down. In the meantime, you just think about the matchups that Sheamus can have for the title. If and when a Daniel Bryan comes back, that is, if WWE will clear him, Daniel Bryan, he could be thrown into the mix. Brock Lesnar can be thrown into the mix. We already got rumblings that apparently Brock Lesnar is going to be doing something at the Royal Rumble this year. I believe I heard that. I'll have to confirm. Now, I'll have that confirmed by Tuesday. But I know he's supposed to be doing something around Royal Rumble or at the Royal Rumble event itself. So it's kind of nice to have in the back of your head that, hey, we could possibly see Sheamus versus Brock Lesnar, which is a great, fresh matchup. It's a matchup that a lot of people want to see. I'm down for that. I no complaints with that. I think that would be one physical freaking encounter between those two guys. I think they would just be having fun, just hitting each other, trying to see which one's gonna like chicken out first or whatever, which one's gonna cave in. But you got a lot of fresh matchups. Sheamus and Cesaro, Sheamus and maybe Kevin Owens if you do it right storyline. Sheamus versus Ryback. I mean, Sheamus as the champion, it creates a whole lot of different combinations of fresh matchups. Not to mention, Sheamus can be that heel that will get the reaction from people. Any reaction is better than no reaction to a degree. Unfortunately, when Seth Rollins was the champion, nobody that I talked to ever said Seth Rollins is one of the greatest heels of all time, or Seth Rollins, ever since he became heel, he's been doing a great job. It's like very rare I see people that will say that about Seth Rollins. The number one thing that I have seen people say about Seth Rollins is he's not connecting with the WWE universe, like right down to when he's cutting his promos and all that, and he's trying to play with the crowd. He doesn't play with the crowd. That's the thing. He never interacts with them. It's like he's just out there cutting his promos. That is where Sheamus is, whether you all want to admit that or not. That is where Sheamus is better than Seth Rollins. Factor in the history of Sheamus and Triple H. I mean, it's just this creates a very interesting type of environment right now. So I mean, I'm willing to see where this goes. Do I think there were other options available for the WWE to go in? Yes, but it's pretty damn obvious that WWE is in a position right now where they're looking at Roman Reigns. I guess they really love the idea of him being a babyface, and maybe that's because his merchandise sells. And I'm sure you've heard from some of those interviews that some of the wrestlers have given and all that when you're a top baby face and then you decide you want to kind of go that heel route, you lose a significant amount of money when it comes for your merchandise and all that. So, honestly, if WWE is kind of saying to themselves, look, we don't know how long John Cena is going to be out. We got a good thing going with Roman Reigns, especially if we like continue to build him up. I'm all fine for it. I'm all fine with them pulling the trigger. Roman Reigns will have his day. I remember I gotta watch my word there. I remember the storm that came about when Roman Reigns did not become the WWE champion. People were so upset. And it was like, take a chill pill. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And I still feel that way. It's gonna happen. Just keep the faith. That's all I gotta say. But I mean, overall, decent pay per view for tonight. Let's see what you guys got to say. Let's take the YouTube, and if you want to also interact with me on Twitter, send some love that way. You can Twitter at the RCWR show. I'm trying to look for comments. I don't see anything right now. If you guys are saying anything, I don't know nothing about it. Let's see if I can try that again. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything right now. I know Google Plus and YouTube, they did something not terribly that long ago. They like split up YouTube and Google, so like now it's really hard to see comments in real time. So 9 times out of 10, I'm probably not going to see you guys comments until this stream, at least on YouTube, is over, which really sucks. But actually, now that I think about it, let me just come back here a second. And yeah, because there's a decent amount of you guys that's watching right now. So I know you guys are commenting, but I'm not seeing it. I will say this while I got you guys' attention. Make sure you share this with your buddies and friends throughout social media in case they might have missed Survivor Series tonight. And would really mean a lot. Spread a good word about us and all that. And of course, subscribe. If you're new, definitely would love to have you subscribe. I'm trying to pump out new content on YouTube for you guys on a little bit more of a regular basis. Not going over crazy with it, but I'm trying to show YouTube just a little bit more love. But Twitter, I saw some stuff on Twitter. Let's go to Twitter. Good question, Ronnie. Ronnie wants to know, is it time to bring back the heavyweight title? No, I don't think so. With the roster being so small as it is right now, no, I don't think it's time to bring back the heavyweight title. Um, Not right now. Not right now. There'd be other titles I'd like to see come back before the heavyweight title comes back, but that's an entirely different story. Jennifer thought that the pay per view itself was a very boring, uninspiring pay per view. She also thought the Divas match was a bit dull. She also went on to say, at least now the argument can be made that Roman can at least say he had the belt. reminds her of how Daniel Bryan's career got started. Yeah, yeah. I think everybody kind of knew that Sheamus was gonna cash in. I mean, eh, that's all I gotta say, man. I'm holding back right now because I'm ready to like throw a couple of f bombs and all that all out there with this whole Sheamus ordeal, but I'm just gonna hold off a little bit longer. I'll say what I really am thinking on Tuesday night. At least that way I can be a little bit more unrestricted, if you will. I got to keep it friendly when we're doing the stream on YouTube. At least when I do the podcast, you got to like go out of your way to actually listen to the audio and all that good stuff, you know? All right, so we're going to go on ahead. We're going to wrap it up for tonight. I want to thank you guys that checked us out live here on YouTube and also on Spreaker. We'll do this for you guys next month as WWE will be presenting the TLC event. All right, so make sure you mark that down and join us. And for you longtime RCWR show fans, yes, this coming Tuesday, there will be a new RCWR show, 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com. All the links you need is in this episode description, so check it out. If you're not going to be able to join live, you can check out the links, scoop up the episodes on great platforms like iTunes, iHeart, Stitcher. Just use the keywords, the RCWR show. And folks, that is going to do it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at the RCWR show and Facebook at Infinity One Productions. All right, guys, I'm shutting it down. I'm wishing all of you all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. See you next go round. Everybody, do take care.